What if intermittent fasting could do more for your heart than the expensive meds your doctor prescribes? Sounds crazy, right? But it turns out that fasting helps your body burn off extra fat in your blood, your triglycerides. And it helps to lower insulin resistance, which is one of the best things you could do for your heart. No drugs, just fasting. Research is now showing that fasting can significantly lower your risk of heart attack or stroke. So I've been digging deep into the research on this because if something so simple can help protect your heart and save your life, we need to be talking about it. Like, how does fasting lower blood pressure without meds? How long do you have to be fasting to see results? And how does fasting stack up against diet or exercise? Heart disease is still the #1 killer worldwide. And the scariest thing is that the biggest risk factors are the invisible ones. You can't see inflammation, you can't see insulin resistance, you may not even notice your blood pressure creeping up until suddenly it's a problem. Most of us are walking around feeling fine, but with high levels of inflammation and insulin resistance. And these are quietly damaging our heart behind the scenes. Insulin resistance is your heart's worst enemy, and it's sneaky. It messes with your blood sugar, so it leads to inflammation, high blood pressure, and clogged arteries. And you can seem totally healthy on paper, normal weight, decent cholesterol, but doctors often don't test for inflammation or insulin resistance, so that's why people have no idea. But the good news is, fasting can help with all of this. It calms inflammation, helps your body respond to insulin again, and gives your heart a much needed break from all of it. And inflammation isn't easy to get rid of. It's kind of like stubborn glitter. Once it's there, it gets everywhere, and it's really hard to clean up. Now imagine that inside your body. It lingers in your blood vessels, damages the walls of your arteries, makes cholesterol stick to them more easily, and sets the stage for dangerous blockages. You don't feel it, you don't see it, but it's like this slow burning fire that never goes out. That's why doctors call chronic inflammation a silent threat. But yet, again, not many of them tell their patients about it or test for it. Now, the biggest drivers of inflammation are stress, processed foods that are high in sugar, fat, and salt, and constant snacking, so your blood sugar spikes constantly all day long. These all keep your body in a constant state of stress, like it's always bracing itself for something to attack it. And in this constant state of stress, you're releasing stress hormones like cortisol. And when that stays high, your immune system starts firing off inflammatory signals around the clock. And when that goes on for years, that low-grade inflammation starts to wear you down from the inside out. It's been linked to heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and even autoimmune issues. But again, one of the fastest and easiest ways to lower this inflammation is with fasting. When you stop eating for long enough, after you've digested your last meal, your body switches from using all of its energy to digest food to using it to repair itself. And this metabolic shift lowers oxidative stress, the kind that can damage your DNA and lead to cancer. And it calms your immune system, which is your main defense against cancer. And it gives your heart a chance to repair itself too. There was a big review of clinical trials done this year that showed how even a 16-hour daily fast can significantly lower blood pressure, reduce abdominal fat, improve insulin sensitivity, and cut inflammation markers like C-reactive protein. And another study looked at people who fasted for 24 hours twice a week, and the results were even more impressive. Within just a few weeks, their insulin levels really improved, and their bodies were able to handle blood sugar more effectively when they did eat. Even more amazing, their metabolic syndrome scores dropped, which means their risk for heart disease, stroke, and diabetes went down. And this isn't just one study. There's been more research done on alternate day fasts, or even doing a longer 36-hour fast once in a while, that have shown similar heart health benefits like lower blood pressure, lower cholesterol, and stronger metabolic function across the board. So why has this research stayed under the radar for so long? Why aren't we talking more about this? Honestly, because it doesn't make any money. Fasting isn't a pill or a product, it's free. And let's be real, there's not a huge incentive for the medical industry to promote something that's free and something you can do without a prescription. Plus, for years doctors were taught that skipping meals was dangerous and eating more frequently was better for your metabolism. But now the science is catching up and saying the opposite. More and more studies are saying that fasting isn't just safe, it's incredibly effective. It's just taking doctors and mainstream medicine a while to get up to speed. Each time you fast, whether it's daily intermittent fasting or a longer 24-hour fast or more, you're giving your whole body, including your cardiovascular system, time to repair and strengthen itself. Now, sure, this is all great, but is fasting even safe for people with pre-existing heart conditions? The short answer is yes, it can be, but it depends. If you've already been diagnosed with advanced coronary artery disease, arrhythmias, or you're on medications like beta blockers or blood thinners, you need to be more cautious. So ideally, do it under medical supervision. Get your doctor to monitor you more closely, because fasting can have a big impact on your blood pressure, your blood sugar, and electrolytes, which can all interfere with your treatment plan. However, many cardiologists are even starting to recommend short intermittent fasts for their patients, like say 14 to 16 hours a day, as a safe starting point, but while they monitor them closely. And this is the easiest way to start fasting for heart health. You start small. You don't jump into a 24 or 36-hour fast right away. Start with a 14-hour overnight fast, which just means if you finish eating dinner by 8 p.m., you don't eat again until breakfast the next day at around 10 a.m. It gives your body a bit of time to rest without putting too much stress on it. But even these shorter fasting windows can give your cardiovascular system some of the same benefits we've been talking about. The key here is, if you have a heart condition, it's best to ideally work with your doctor because they can keep a closer eye on your blood pressure and electrolytes. Now you may be wondering, how long do I have to fast consistently before I start to see these benefits for my heart? Honestly, everyone's different. It depends on a number of different factors. Some can start within days, but for the most part, I'd say at least a few weeks of intermittent fasting can help you to start see some improvements in your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your insulin sensitivity, and your inflammation levels. There was one study that showed that men who fasted for 18 hours a day saw significant heart health improvements within 5 weeks. And of course, the longer you stick with it, the more your body adapts, and the more consistent the benefits become. So with all that being said, how does fasting stack up against diet or exercise when it comes to protecting your heart? So think of it as this. All three, fasting, exercise, and healthy eating, are all very powerful, but they each work in different ways. A healthy diet gives your body the raw nutrients it needs, like antioxidants, fiber, healthy fats, protein, which all help to reduce inflammation and keep your blood vessels clear. But exercise strengthens your heart muscle, improves circulation, and improves insulin sensitivity, so your body can use healthy food more efficiently. But fasting gives your whole system a much-needed break once in a while, so it naturally lowers insulin, reduces oxidative stress, and triggers repair processes that you can't really get from diet or exercise alone. So when you put them head-to-head, it's not really about one being better than the other, it's about how they complement each other. Fasting quickly improves insulin sensitivity and trims abdominal fat, which in turn lowers your heart risk. Exercise builds endurance and resilience, so it protects against things like high blood pressure, and a healthy diet gives you the energy you need to repair any damage. So at the end of the day, intermittent fasting paired with a little exercise and healthy diet can amplify the benefits that each one brings. When they all work together, your heart gets the maximum amount of protection it deserves. Obviously, fasting isn't a magic fix, but it's one of the simplest and most powerful ways to support your health when done safely and consistently. And if you're wondering what to eat to really boost your heart health, watch this video next, and I'll see you next week.